Hi, this is Rajat here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 4 steps that you need to follow in order to sign up customers or partners in your new business. So if you're a business owner who's just started their new business and you're trying to find customers or partners, you're finding some failures, you're getting confused by all the complexity, and you don't know how to go about it, then this video is for you. Remember, your business may not be very complicated, but it's still a structural machine, and it needs to be followed in a structured fashion in order for you to get success. Uh, Being organized will help you get ahead of the talented, the fortunate, and the hardworking. It's always the organized that win. So, with that, let's just go to the 4 steps that you need to follow in order to get customers or partners for your new business.
All right, so here are the 4 steps, the basic 4-step sales funnel that you need to follow in order to get customers or partner signups. The first step, again, is build a big list. Why I always stress on that, and we've already had previous training where we've stressed on that, is the big list is the basis for your business. So you should have a big list, not a list, a big list. The second step is call and invite prospects in order to view your products or your business demonstration. The third step is the product demo or the business plan with an optional close, or you can have a 4th step, which is a follow-up and close separate from the product demo. We'll see all these 4 steps in the upcoming slides. All right, step 1. Build a list. So the money is in the list. Start with a list of hundreds, if not thousands of people in it. The list adds to your posture. You don't care about any one person on the list as long as you have hundreds of them. So this adds to your posture and your confidence, and you won't be faced by any one refusal or any particular prospect acting difficult with you. If there are some people you don't want to contact immediately and you want to keep them on the back burner till you have some success behind you, that's fine. But you must keep their names on the list. Which brings me to the next point. A list means a written list only. Anything that you don't have in writing in one place, preferably on paper, is not your business list. And no, the 15 names that you have in your head that you know for sure are going to do your business, that's not a list. You need to have a list written down on paper, all right? You can use a memory jogger to build out your list, your alumni list, your alumni groups, Facebook groups, etc. You can use your cell phone, all the people in your cell phone contact list, your email contact list, etc. Even if you don't have any particular person's contact details at hand, just write down their names and find out their details later. Just write down the name at least. The next point, and most important, the number one reason for failure in business: do not prejudge. I'm sure you know who are the 10 people that are definitely going to do your business and who are the 100 people that you know for sure are not going to do your business or not buy your product. I get that. But do not prejudge people before writing their names on the list. This is the number one reason most people fail in their startup or home business. So no prejudging. Step 2. Call and invite. The only goal of this activity is to invite your prospects for a product demo or a business plan. Nothing more, nothing less. All you're going to do is call them and invite them for your product demo or your business plan. If for any reason you feel during that call that they do not have genuine interest, you can drop them there, no problem. Calling is best done on the phone, and in a worst case scenario, if you're meeting somebody in person and you want to invite them for a follow-on meeting specifically for a business purpose, throw it in while saying goodbye to them, preferably when you're already in your car or they're already in their car, because that allows you the control that your prospect does not take advantage and stick around and try to have a longer conversation than you need to. So ideally best done on the phone. In a worst case scenario, if you're already meeting them, once you're out the door or once you're already in your car, you can stop and ask them to set up a follow-up time to meet up for a business demo. This call is best done within 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Do not let the conversation drag, otherwise the prospect will take you for a ride. and they will dump you on the road. So you need to have control on the call, and that's why it needs to be done within 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Always sound like you're in a hurry. In fact, always be in a hurry while you're inviting people. That way it makes sure that they do not stretch out the call and try to ask you all kinds of questions on the call. So tell them upfront that you're in a hurry and that you can't talk for long, and you're calling for a very specific reason, and then dive straight into it. Open the call, say hi, tell them you're in a hurry, you can't talk for long. Tell them the purpose of the call, that you're exploring starting out a business or a project that may involve decent profits. Ask them whether they would be open at looking at something outside of their core job or profession. If they say no, drop them. If they say yes, propose 2 time slots, preferably 2 days apart, when you can meet at your place or their place. Preferably their place, because it gives you more control. So you can say something like, okay, that's great. Let's meet potentially tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock or Friday morning at 10:30, which one suits you better. And that way try to lock down the date and time. If they ask you a lot of questions, remind them that you're in a hurry and propose 2 time slots again, and try to lock down the date and time. So if they say, hey, what's it about? Anything else that they say apart from no and yes, you just say, that's great. I can't answer your questions right now because I'm in a hurry. Hey, why don't we meet tomorrow evening at 7:30 or Friday morning at 9:30, and I'll run you through all of that at that time, and try to get out of the call at that time. Lock down the date and time, and also the location, which is when are you going to meet them, where are you going to meet them, exactly what time. The next, assertively mention to them that you will be on time, but if in case of any emergency they cannot make it or they want to change the schedule, they should let you know beforehand so that you can utilize your time best. So before you get out of the call, you must tell them that you are going to be on time, and if there's any emergency on their side, they should definitely let you know in advance so you can utilize your time best. You can also utilize this trick if they try to stall for time. If they say, hey, I know that you're in a hurry, why don't we fix up the time later? You can always utilize this to say, hey, let's do this. Let's fix up a tentative time tomorrow evening at 7:30, and in case you have an emergency, you can always call me back and reschedule. So always walk out of the call with a date, time, and location. If they stall for time, if they say, hey, let me get back to you, or let me think about it, or whatever, say, hey, that's great. Why don't we fix a tentative time, and you can get back to me in case you have an emergency, and we can always cancel or reschedule. So always get out of the call with a date, time, and location. Of course, if you feel that they're acting difficult on the phone, you can tell them, hey, that maybe this is not for you, and drop them. Approach them later once you have some interim success under your belt. Do not let them take advantage of you. All right? Next step, step 3, product demo or business plan. The only goal of this activity is to provide information to the prospect about the product or the business. Ask them power questions in order to qualify them. We will be going into all of these in detail later. Try to address the most common objections before they arise. So if a prospect is giving you objections, you're trying to address them in the middle of the presentation, then they've obviously derailed you by that time. So you either try to address the most common objections before they arrive, or if they ask you questions, you can always tell them that, hey, by the time the presentation is over, either all of your questions would have been answered, or I'll answer them at that time. So try to stay on the rail, try to keep your train on time towards the junction, try to finish the meeting on time. While doing the presentation, remember to have certain points where you tickle their emotional triggers while also addressing logical issues with them. So remember, we are emotional beings, and most of us buy on emotion. However, we justify our purchases to ourselves based on logic. So whether you have a product pitch or whether you have a project pitch, which is your business opportunity or whatever it is, you always want to tickle some emotional side that gets them hooked. And of course, there has to be some logic on whatever you're pitching, otherwise there's no point talking to them about it. Figure out during the meeting whether it's worth setting up a follow-up meeting with them, or if you find that the prospect is not worth setting up a follow-up meeting with them, just go for the close and try to finish it one way or the other and move on. If you feel that they're suitably opted in, or if they have a lot of genuine interest, you can try to close them immediately without setting up a further meeting. Now, What are the prerequisites or ideal features of this product demo or business plan? You should have 40 to 60 minutes of uninterrupted time, which means 40 to 60 minutes of time where you have pre-arranged with them by calling or inviting them, where there is no disturbance from kids, from pets, from telephone calls, and you're ideally at a location where you're not going to be disturbed. So either at your house or their house, or preferably a quiet coffee shop where you can buy a cup of coffee and sit for an hour or so without a bunch of people or staff interrupting you. Now, this time can be pre-arranged, or if you have that kind of relationship with your prospect, you can also spring it on them. So if you're meeting them one-on-one for a cup of tea, etc., you can always bring up the topic just like that. Even if you haven't called them in advance for a business meeting, you can say, hey, I wanted your opinion quickly on this. And if you have your kit ready, which is if you have your products ready for a product demo, or if you have your pen and pad handy for a business plan, you can spring it to them, provided you have that kind of relationship with the prospect, if they are close friends or whatever. Now, in case this is a pre-arranged product demo, you're going to be on time and you're going to dress sharp. You're going to dress sharp even if they're your best friends, they've known you since childhood, in dungarees and floaters all along, but you're going to dress in trousers, shirt, nice shoes, and nails should be cut, and you should be well shaved and stuff like that. During the product demo, seem busy, but be attentive. Do not be rude, but always seem like you're going somewhere right after the meeting, and that makes the prospect feel that you're not going to sit around till the time they take their decision, etc. If there's only one prospect, keep it tight. The shorter the meeting, the better. If there are 4 or 5 of those prospects, you can run through the full hour. But if there's only one prospect, I typically like to finish the meeting in 30 to 40 minutes. All right. During the presentation, do not answer any question directly. If they ask a lot of questions during the presentation, you can tell them, thanks, that's a great question. Let me complete my presentation, and if your question has not been answered by then I'll address it at that point. There are some questions that prospects will ask that can be answered with counter questions of your own. If they ask, is this product organic, for example, you can ask them a counter question. You can say, hey, what type of product do you prefer to use, especially for your children's daily utilization? And of course, if they say organic, you say, correct, my product is organic, and you carry on. So you can ask questions, you can answer questions with counter questions of your own. That helps you get control during the demo process. We'll be having separate training for all of this, so we'll address it at that time. When you're done with the presentation, outline to them clearly what expected possible outcomes you have, even though some of them may not be successful for you. Which means even if the prospect is going to refute, that's a possible outcome for you. So you're in control. You're telling them, well, I understand that you may be at one of 3 places. You may need more information and may also need to discuss with your spouse or other people in your family about this idea of product. You may have made up your mind. You may like to get started right away, or you're not really interested in pursuing this business or buying this product. You're not really interested in pursuing the business, but you won't mind trying out the product. And of course, if they say, well, I'm neither interested in the business nor in the product, that's great, because you just saved a whole lot of time and you can exit right away. If they say they need more time in order to take a decision, leave some follow-on material for them and set up a follow-on meeting, and then leave them. Lock down the date and time, and also mention that you will be on time for that meeting, but in case of any emergency they need to reschedule or cancel, they should let you know beforehand. So always impress upon the prospect that your time is valuable and you're following this as a professional activity. This is not casual, this is not fun. This is professional for you and your time is valuable. All right, the next step, step 4. So imagine you've not chosen to close the prospect one of 3 ways during the presentation, but you left them some material and you set up a follow-up time. The goal of the follow-up meeting is that you're going to collect the material that you left with them. You're going to revisit the sales presentation briefly with them in order to get them to recall whatever you spoke about. You're going to walk them to the options and close either of the 3 ways. Either they want to become a customer of your products, or they want to become a partner in your business, or if they're not very interested in either of these and they're not interested to engage with you, you can always ask them for references. And the way that goes is you say, hey, do you know of any people who might benefit from whatever I have to offer? And try to get 5 or 10 references from them. Again, stepwise, walk them through the value proposition of the product and business again real quick in order to get them to recall. Try to tickle their emotional triggers again while addressing their logical issues. If they have any more objections, you're going to tackle the objections. And there's a particular technique for tackling objections we are going to see in further trainings, specific techniques for tackling objections. You're going to ask them close-ended questions at this time. Do not let them deviate. So if you ask them a closed-ended question, which says, so Mr. Prospect, hearing from you, this makes sense from a logical perspective, this makes sense from an emotional perspective, etc., whatever the hell it is. You can say, where I see you now, or where you see yourself now, is that you're interested in the business, but the budget is the only thing stopping you. Is that correct or not? And if they try to get out of that question, you need to re-emphasize the question. It's a very simple question. Is your budget the only thing that's keeping you from starting the business or from buying the product? Do not let them deviate. Again, you're going to be polite, but you're going to be firm, and you're going to relay their choices back to them, whether yes or no, in clear, succinct language, so that they understand, they're clear in their mind what they're choosing, whether it is to start the business or buy the product or say no to both. And then you're going to make your exit. Very simple. The follow-up meeting, again, should not last more than 30 to 40 minutes. All right. So that's all from my side, and these are the 4 steps that you're going to use again and again and again to walk every prospect through the whole sales funnel. And we're going to see you in the next video where we discuss each of these steps in detail. All right. So wish you all the best. See you later. Bye-bye.